Hey guys, Captain Bolduc with you, 2-3 Infantry Physical Therapist. This is number 9 in our video series on how to build a home gym. Okay, today's focus is going to be on mobility and the types of tools that I use in my home gym in order to improve my mobility. When we're talking about improving mobility, really we're using tools or instruments in order to cause ischemic compression or pressure on the muscles. And what that does is it produces a nervous system effect by stimulating certain receptors, the GTO for example, that produces an autogenic inhibition response. And that's just a fancy way of saying the receptor inside of that muscle causes that muscle to decrease tone and to relax a little bit. Okay, so this is a great way to either recover after heavy workout or to build into your warm-up in order to reduce some of that tone. Now, what we want to do in other cases, and usually in my field in physical therapy, is work on tender areas of your muscles too. These are commonly referred to as trigger points, and by applying some pressure with some of these tools into those areas, and I'll demonstrate a few examples, we can get that trigger point to kind of release or melt away, okay? So, having said that, let's go ahead and get started. The first one is a foam roller, okay? It comes in a number of different sizes. This is kind of the longer version, but you can cut it up as well, depending on how big your area is. And it's just a tool, and I'm gonna demonstrate the piriformis. Okay, we've talked about this muscle in the past. This muscle, in most people, the sciatic nerve pierces through this muscle. So if this muscle is overactive and tight, sometimes we get those shooting pains down the back of your leg, and that can be caused by other things as well. It's not always just because it's a tight piriformis muscle, but sometimes this type of mobility work can kind of help decrease the tone in that muscle a little bit, and then you follow it up with some stretching. Okay, so that's the foam roller. It's a great tool in order to be able to roll, and you can roll almost any muscle in the body with that thing. Next, lacrosse balls. These have become pretty popular in the past few years because now we can kind of pinpoint now where this is a pretty broad surface here. Now we can pinpoint areas, especially trigger points, things like that. We tend to develop a lot of trigger points in tight and tender spots in our upper traps. So one way we can kind of work that is we can either use the floor or just come against the wall. Sometimes you can throw this in a pillowcase, for example, throw it behind and position it exactly where you need, or you can just kind of place it here. And I'm just kind of rolling back and forth, trying to find those tender spots and then just trying to relax into them for a minute, 2 minutes. I can also do an arm raise, tack and stretch. I can side bend my head to the left once I find that spot. And like I said, you've got to spend a few minutes on it, but usually those will melt away with that. Next is, this is called a peanut, and all that is 2 of these taped together. This right here is the same thing. This is the crossover symmetry system I've been talking about, also provides this tool as well. Same idea, it's a peanut. And why this is nice is you have a space now in here in between, so I can now work my paraspinal muscles, okay, without compressing the vertebral column. You don't want to do mobility work on bones. There's no point in that, and it can hurt. So this is a way to get those paraspinal muscles along your spine if you've got some tenderness back there. Next, so we can kind of step up the game here with a tool like this, and you notice how it's kind of studded a little bit, so there's raised edges. Again, the same idea as that lacrosse ball where we're trying to have a more pinpoint accurate approach. This one now has that, but also you can press this button and we've got a vibration effect now, percussive effect. You can kind of hear that. So that's going to penetrate a little bit deeper into the muscle, okay? So this is a great tool as well. This one, these are starting to get more and more popular now. This is a Theracane, and this is great because now I don't have to use the ground or a wall. I can just kind of pinpoint whatever muscle group I want to hit on my own. Okay, another great thing about this is that you can press this in and now we can adjust the angle. Okay, so if it's easier to kind of get at certain areas of your body with this adjusted, then we can do that. And to give a demonstration, get in nice and close here. And you can see, without putting any pressure at all, that gets really deep into that muscle. Okay, so a big muscle like the quadriceps group, sometimes you need just a little bit more penetration in order to get all the way down, essentially to that bone of the femur. So this is a great tool for that. Another tool that I like to use is the TRX Strap. Okay, and with this, I described in a previous video, they provide a list of, I don't know, 9 or 10 different mobility positions that you can work. So I sometimes use that. Something as simple as a PVC pipe. I do a lot of shoulder mobility work with this. So here, we're just getting range of motion. I can do shoulder sweeps back and forth. I can decrease here that distance, and it makes it even more difficult, and really working, opening up those shoulders and coming back through. So this is a great, very cheap, inexpensive tool in order to work shoulder mobility. We've demonstrated already with a band how we can work mobility in both our shoulders and our hips. Probably the last tool I'd like to talk about is the Theracane, and that is, I don't have it here, it's actually at my clinic at work, but it's a cane that kind of has a J shape to it. And now, sitting and watching TV, I can position that and work all those muscles or all those tight spots, you know, in the traps and in other places on my body. So great tool for that. So that's it. That's mobility in a nutshell. Those are some tools that I've been able to incorporate into my home gym that have really helped in working the recovery aspect of working through and mobilizing soft tissue, getting rid of trigger points, and just increasing range of motion overall. So hope you enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for the next video, which is going to be our last video in the series, all about home gym organization.